Sundowns taking on Golden Arrows in the DStv Premiership. The Sundowns team seems to be just running riot at the moment. Not a single strike on target from Golden Arrows in 53 minutes. Not a shot at goal in 53 minutes. Hey! Tough times. It's 10 after the hour 6. Welcome to it. This is Sports Amplified with Andile. I am Andile Ncube. And thank you so much for the touchdown. Met Touch's two boys, Zuri and Ruri. Great little ones, huh? With the energy of their father. Can't wait to see what becomes of those two. They got a great energy about them. Today is a nice day. Because yesterday, Mazola and myself and Davictor Hlongwane solved many of South Africa's big questions and issues. But at the end of the day, we were all accused of supporting different teams. Because you can never fully satisfy football fans. Today, though, we stray away from football a little bit. We cover some cricket. We're going to be speaking to the coach, Rob Walters, of the South African national cricket team, the Proteas as they're known. He's going to be on the show. And also, we're going to be crossing to Oma Akatugba, all the way in Paris. I'm not sure where he is around Europe, but based in Paris. He's going to be speaking to us about all things Neymar, PSG, and Mbappe. Neymar is going to be one of the wealthiest athletes after the 2 years that he's going to be spending at Al Hilal. We do know that he signed the contract, he's had the medical, and everything has gone well. So he is officially an Al Hilal player, but we'll go to Europe for all of that. Welcome to it. It's Sports Amplified with Andile. The score at the moment, it's 4-0. Sundowns versus Arrows. Pirates to play in a few.
Lullaby, it's late at night as you clutch your phone tight.
Why aren't you a millionaire? Your friend from school's already there.
You're 23, you're getting old.
Why is this pillow not cold?
Will they make a season 4? Did you lock the back door?
Next time, decaf your mind with Nescafe Decaf.
Hollywood Bets is giving you an opportunity to win one of 5 luxury trips to Bali. Bet 10 Rand or more on JetX for a chance to win an incredible trip or a share of 150,000 Rand. Hollywood Bets. Why fly when you can jet off? T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
She has humility. She has empathy. She is kind and tender. Celebrate the ladies with Metro FM.
And I shouldn't have to prove it, cause it's just what I do. I am woman.
This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile. Okay. 6 till 7 p.m. Powered by SABC Sports. Let's go.
Welcome to it. We're going to be crossing through to Europe and speaking to our boy, Oma Akatugba. If you don't follow him on Twitter, please make sure that you do on Twitter as well as on Instagram. I've seen him on Instagram as well. He's a globe-trotting African who's a friend to the football stars, but also a UEFA-accredited sports journalist and founder of omasports.com and TV. Do make sure that you follow him for the very latest coming out of Europe. We love him here on this show. Oma, where in Europe are you? I never know.
Andile, and thank you as always for always urging people to follow me on social media. I really appreciate that. Yes, I am currently sitting inside the media working area for the UEFA Super Cup game tomorrow in Athens, Greece, specifically in the Piraeus area of Athens.
Oh, wow.
That is where I am right now.
Obviously, the Champions League winners meet the Europa League winners, Manchester City and Sevilla, in the UEFA Super Cup fixture tomorrow. The match will be taking place in Greece. That's where you are. Olympiacos Stadium is where you are. Excited about that. What's the mood like in Greece at the moment?
Well, it's calm. Greece is a very tourist country, or Athens to be precise. So you have a lot of tourists going around having a good time, sightseeing and holiday. There's not so much about the game, to be very honest. I went to the Fan Festival Center. You know, UEFA always has what you call the Fan Festival before their final games. This is the one that I've seen with the lowest number of turnouts. It was like nothing was happening.
Wow.
You know, and that basically reflects the moods in Athens right now. It's not an exciting one, to be very honest. A lot of people don't even know that this game is going on here.
No.
And let me quickly say that the stadium is called the Karaiskakis Stadium.
See, our African tongue, you and I, doesn't get around words like that. But I mean, the big news coming out today that we saw, Kevin De Bruyne being injured.
Yes. In fact, Pep and Rodri, both of them were at the pre-match press conference. They talked about him. Pep said that he would need a surgery. And of course, Rodri was talking about how much they will miss him. But they have a good squad to be able to cope before a return. For example, they've got Phil Foden, who seems to be the guy who can play in that area if Kevin De Bruyne is not available. So you feel his absence, but you know, this is Manchester City, a very complete squad, a very solid team, the strongest side in Europe. So you want to imagine that they will cope without him.
Let's move away from Athens, from Greece now, and move on to your hometown of Paris, where there's a lot happening. I mean, there was the Mbappe thing, there was the Neymar thing. Before we even go into the Mbappe thing, Neymar leaving PSG, we now know he's at Al Hilal. What do you make of that move?
It's shocking. It's shocking to say the least. Neymar is a type of player we thought would really dominate the game of football. After what we saw at Barcelona, how he partnered Messi and Suarez to form a triumvirate that was the deadliest in Europe. But since then, he's not really been able to live up to expectations. Of course, no thanks to injuries, and of course, and all of the, you know, inconsistencies, especially at PSG. So we thought that maybe he would have left PSG to find his bearing again, maybe go back to Barca and begin to show those things that we knew him for. And then, voila, he's headed for Saudi Arabia. So it's shocking. It's not something I expected. But with the wave of billions coming from Saudi Arabia right now, anybody can go there.
And it's important that you say that, because at 31 years old now, so much was expected of him, particularly after he did join Barcelona. We saw how great he could be. We saw him, you know, in international tournaments as well. Right now, he goes to Saudi Arabia. We can almost say that his European career is over. How do you think we write down Neymar's story? Is he a big success from Brazil? How does he fit among the greats when we speak about the greats of football? Where do you put Neymar with his stunt and what he's done in Europe?
That's a very, very interesting question. I would also say difficult. I think that if you talk about the true greats of football, you may not find a place for Neymar, you know, because when we talk about the true greats, we're talking about people who won both individual and collective, you know, honors, like the Messis of this world, the Ronaldos of this world, the Ronaldo de Lima of this world. These are guys who, you know, affected their teams positively and led them to win trophies. Ronaldinho as well, and then they won individually. Neymar never won the Ballon d'Or. Neymar was tipped to be the heir apparent to Messi and Ronaldo before Kylian Mbappe came into the scene.
100%.
And then Kylian Mbappe suddenly overtook him because he, at the age of 23, won the World Cup. Okay, he's never won the Champions League, but we know that if he's in the right place, he would win it, just like Neymar when he was at Barcelona. So I think that Neymar truly didn't live up to his full potential. And of course, bad career decisions can also be one of the biggest reasons. Because when he went to PSG, I remember Gary Neville said, Neymar, the only place to go after Barcelona is down. And that's exactly
I remember that tweet. I remember that tweet.
Exactly. It's becoming very clear that since he left Barcelona, he went on a downward spiral. He went to PSG. PSG won almost nothing because at PSG they will win the league whether you have Neymar or not. PSG have been winning the league for God knows how long. So they didn't win anything spectacular. So you would say that his PSG career wasn't also successful, despite being the most expensive player in Europe, in the world, as a matter of fact, in the world. And that basically sums it all up. I don't think that Neymar has earned a place in the group of true greats in world football. Of course, you can give him some credit. I think he's the highest goal scoring Brazilian footballer. He tried
international level,
to help Brazil to win the World Cup. Yes, at international level. I think that's some credit for a country like Brazil, with some of the best strikers in the world. For him to have emerged the leading scorer in history is something to credit him for. But I think that Neymar could have done better.
Now, I get onto Twitter. I speak to a couple of people to get an understanding of what might be happening inside PSG. But the reason I talk to you, Omar, and the reason I say people should follow you is because when the players are making the calls to their agents and they're talking to their coaches, they're sitting with you in the room, in their houses, in their hotels, and that's why we come to you. So we want to talk about what's happening inside PSG, particularly with Mbappe and Neymar. But I want to take a quick ad break. When we come back from that, what is it that's happened between those two that's now forced one to leave and one seems to be reintegrated into that team? All of this when we come back. Sundowns currently take on Golden Arrows in a live match in the DStv Premiership. 4-0 is the score. Mendieta getting a taste of the Sundowns magic as he comes on. Hey, listening to that promo there, jersey number 10. Where's Sundowns is number 10? Where's Sereno? It's 24 after the hour 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. I've got a friend of the room, Oma Akatugba, who's all the way in Greece at the moment, awaiting the big match tomorrow in the Super Cup. But we're speaking all things PSG at the moment. Oma, there's the Mbappe story, which till today I don't quite understand, and I'm looking and hoping for clarity from you. And then there's a Neymar leaving, and we're told that then Mbappe is in. We understand that the two didn't get along, and apparently Mbappe had said that he's not going to be a part of the team as long as Neymar's there. What's going on inside PSG?
I think that it's a matter of egos, power play. You know, PSG is one of the most dramatic football clubs in Europe. They have Kylian Mbappe, who has got a big ego. Neymar, on the other hand, has got a big ego. At some point, both of them got along. All was good. We saw them even on camera, always having a good time on the pitch. And then perhaps Messi came into the picture. I don't know if that kind of affected their friendship. I think that you feel like it's a case of three kids. You remember when we were kids, we used to have friendship where we were three, and then two we get along this week and gang up against one next week, and then upper week the position will switch. We'll keep choosing who to gang up against, and it keeps rotating. And that's how the story of Messi, Neymar, Kylian looks like, you know. And of course, this basically somehow you would think affected even the team PSG, because if two of their strongest players were not in good terms, that affected the spirit of the team and they couldn't really achieve anything. And the project of building superstars crashed. And PSG started to rethink and rebuild and rejig and made signings, you know, that are not really, you know, normally signings that PSG will be known for. And that tells you of the fact that they are trying to refocus. And in refocusing, they wanted to, you know, release some of those big egos in the dressing room. Of course, Messi is not part of them because we know that Messi is not the type of player that disrupts the dressing room. But Neymar, for example, somehow they couldn't really find an agreement. And because of the fact that Neymar is a huge, it takes a lot of money, and they feel in a type of way that he really didn't deliver on the pitch. And they looked for a way to get him off the wage bill. And Andile came into the picture. And of course, Kylian Mbappe, on the other hand, they were battling with sorting out Kylian's contract to extend his contract so that they can have more power before he leaves for Real Madrid. Because if they don't do that, he will be leaving for free. And that would have been economically catastrophic for the club. And they've said it, that they're going to sell a lot of players if Kylian left for Real Madrid on a free transfer. So all these put together, you know, encapsulates PSG's problem, situation, and how much of drama that is being into. And it's really tough to be PSG right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation. It's a definite that Mbappe is leaving. Do you see him signing an extension? Do you see him, at least assisting the club out so that they're able to get some money for him? Do you see that happening?
I think so, because they've given him so much. PSG, they basically gave Kylian too much power, and that's basically why they are suffering. They keep saying that no player is bigger than the club, but they're not acting it out. They say action speaks louder than words. PSG always make it clear that no player is bigger than the club, but you made Kylian Mbappe bigger than the club. And that's why he basically toyed with you guys for so long. And I'm very sure that he did so much persuasion and needed some high, people in high places like they did the last time with the French president, Emmanuel Macron, to convince him to extend his contract. I think that they would have done the same thing this time around.
I thought that was the weirdest thing to have a president come in on contractual matters of a player. I thought that was just ridiculous.
Ridiculous, and that describes PSG Football Club as a whole. It's an interesting club, and of course the things they do continuously put them in a position where they become the laughing stock of European football. Look at how they started the league without Kylian, and suddenly Kylian was reinstated into the team. I thought that they could stand their ground of freezing Kylian out of the team to truly show that they are bigger than the player. But what they have done shows that they are truly not big as they claim to be. So it's a mess, Pardon my French. It's a mess, PSG as a football club. And if they don't get their acts in order, I think that more players will continue to toy with them, because what Mbappe has done shows to other players that at this club, you can flex muscles with them. At the end of the day, you win.
Wow. Omar, I got to let you go. But before I do, some of our listeners are interested. How much do you know, as somebody who covers the biggest leagues in the world, sits with the biggest players in the world?
Yes.
I mean, we get the news from you. How much do you know about South African football? Are any South Africans on your radar in any way?
South African football, of course. I have been a follower of South African football for many years. Back in the days of Ajax Cape Town, I met Molefi, John Committees, when he came to play against Enyimba in Nigeria in 2006, I think. I met Molefi Olifant. Let me tell you this story. In Egypt in 2006, I met Molefi Olifant, then president of South African FA. And I told him how South Africa's greatest undoing is the lack of talent, despite having all of the organizational acumen, which is actually now suffering. Because we saw what happened with the girls, which was shocking to me. Because we always say South Africa is the pride as far as football organization in Africa is concerned. Unfortunately, not having talent like Nigeria, Ghana, and the like. But that is also now a problem. So I met Molefi Olifant. I said all this to him. I was so blown away by my knowledge of South African football. And he invited me to South Africa, all expense paid, in 2006. So I have been to South Africa a couple of times for footballing reasons. And that tells you how much I am very much into South African football.
Geez, lack of talent? You think that's it, Omar? That's a hard. That's your honest opinion, and I appreciate it. It's just such a cold shower for me. I would have thought, yeah.
Okay, let me tell you why I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've had a sprinkle of South African players play at the highest level in Europe. Benny McCarthy, Quinton Fortune at Manchester United. The guy at Everton, Steven Pienaar, and then Percy Tau, who didn't really make it to the very top after playing at Genk in Belgium. Was it Genk? I think Genk in Bruges, Club Bruges in Belgium. Now he's back in Africa. You don't look at South Africa and mention 5 names who are playing at the high level in Europe. If you talk about Nigeria, bro, it has been like that for many years. You get? But for South Africa, it's not the same. The strength of South Africa actually is having the right organization, having vision. Look at your league. It's far better than what we have in Nigeria. However, at international level, they are not able to compete with Nigeria. What is the difference? It's just talent. We're not smarter than you guys. We're not more organized than you guys. We don't even have better minds, even technically, and administratively than you guys. But when we play, we end up winning. It's just quality of player. That's the distinction.
Omar,
that's the distinction.
Me, I love you. Follow him on social media, on Twitter. Trust me, you don't want to mess with him. I want to see all the South Africans that follow Oma Akatugba say out there. I'm going to tweet him just after this. So if you want to know the name and how to spell it, just follow me. I'm going to be tweeting him after this. Omar, I really appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You too. Have a good time, yeah.
Thank you so much. He's Nigerian born, lives in France, and he's literally the friend to all the super major stars that plight their trade out in Europe. And he says, Andile, we're not better than you. We're just more talented. You have everything else, but you don't have the talent to match Nigeria or obviously the rest of the world. Yo, what do you think of that? 1833.
This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile.
Mazola, I've got a feeling for the first time on a Monday, not a lot of people care about you. The principal. It's your turn, Mota. I'm not content. I'm not content. I'm not content. Mazola, I'm not content.
Small stories. I'll save some of my stories for another time. You can catch all of them on sabcsport.com. They live there on the digital space. Content. Small stories.
Weekdays, 6 till 7 p.m. on Metro FM. This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile. 6 till 7 p.m. Powered by SABC Sports. Let's go.
It's 18:34 on the Mighty Metro FM. There is currently a game underway. It's Sundowns that take on Golden Arrows. It's 77 minutes that have been played so far. And when you take a look at the score, it's 4-0 at the moment, with goals from Shalulile, who's now went off with a bit of a niggling injury. One wonders how bad that was. Then you've got Ncube, who scores his first brace for Sundowns. Kekana scoring in the 39th minute there to make it 4-0. Sundowns have shown some power in this match here. With the amount of players that they've got on the bench that they've been able to release. You've got Mendieta coming on. You've got Boani Zungu coming on. And the list is just endless. Whereas Golden Arrows here with Ryan Moon out, and you've got Lungelonguse who came on. You've also got Tuspan Leclelo who came on for them. Oluwatu Ncube who scored for them already this season also coming on. It's 18:35 on the Mighty Metro FM. Thanks so much for choosing us. What do you think of our conversation with Omar? He's all the way in Greece. He's sitting in the press box waiting for the coaches, or filing his stories rather from the coaches. He spoke to them a little bit earlier, had a conversation with Pep Guardiola and the likes. You can catch all those stories on his Twitter. Right now, though, we change focus a little bit and we speak to Proteas coach Rob Walter for the very first time on Metro FM, for the very first time on Sports Not Amplified with Andile. A big welcome, coach, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Andile. Yeah, thank you for the invite. It's great to be chatting to you guys.
I mean, Coach, we follow the cricket and we follow the team, and we have analysts that come on here to speak about it. But it's always great to speak to the man at the helm. It's always great to speak to the man that is in charge at the moment. And because it's the first time, just overall, Coach, what do you make of before we get into the squad selection that you've got? Looking at what we've still got to do this year and next year as the Proteas. What do you make of the sum of talent that we've got available to us at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, South Africa is never short of cricket talent, that's for sure. We've always had strong systems. Our school cricket is really strong. So we seem to find a way to keep producing good cricketers, which is great. Obviously, we've been able to pick a couple of those young talents for the upcoming series. And, we just hope that we can give them some international experience. We hope that is going to put Melbourne forward to playing great cricket for the Proteas moving forward.
The last year, or maybe even year and a half, you can stretch it to 2 years, Coach, have been somewhat of a rebuild for South Africa, haven't they? Because when you look at the amount of senior players that in the last 2 years or so that we've, ushered out of international cricket, and now having to look and almost ingrain the new ones.
Yeah, look, I suppose in cricket you're always dealing with guys who are moving on, and the game does hold on to players, guys can have fairly long careers. So, and sometimes you have a number of those players just leaving at the same time. So, I suppose over the last years we have done some rebuilding, but there are some experienced stalwarts that have been there for a number of years as well.
Talk to me about your selection, Coach. We all saw it. We've seen all the comments that have come of it. Perhaps from your end, why the players you've selected for what you've selected from for in the different formats?
Look, in the T20s, we wanted to use this as an opportunity to give some younger players a run, and at the same time giving some of the more experienced guys a bit of a rest. It's been a pretty eventful and full-on winter for them from league to league. So, I keep saying it. What's important is that when the guys do run onto the field for the Proteas, that they're energized, that they've got enough in the tank to deliver their best performance for the team. And then in so resting them and giving them a bit of time off, it does provide these opportunities. So we've been able to pick young guys like Deval Brevis, Donovan Ferreira, Matthew Bretzka. Gerald Kasia comes into the T20 squad for the first time. He's already played ODI cricket and Test cricket. We're excited about the flair and the youth and exuberance that they bring into the side. And again, it allows us to just broaden the base of our cricketers.
And, there's a reason, of course. I think something about rest is what I heard you say. De Kock, Klaassen, Miller, I think Nortje as well as Rabada are not being a part of the team at the moment.
Yeah, and Wayne Parnell. So I think there's 6 players that we've given a bit of a rest, and Riley Rousseau's got an injury. So, that's seven players that you normally see in the squad at least that are missing out on this T20 series. And so, that provides a perfect opportunity for these chaps to come in and put their best foot forward for the Proteas.
Keshav comes back, though.
Yeah, we're hopeful with Keshav. As you know, it's been sort of well documented that he ruptured his Achilles and he's coming back from that. He's ahead of schedule and ahead of where we thought he might be at the time and at this time, so that's exciting. We sort of taking it bit by bit, so the first focus will be the next couple of weeks and seeing if he's able to just get over the last little hurdle to be able for selection for the T20. And if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, then we'll turn our focus to the 50 overs.
There's the one big talking point as soon as you announced your squad. I saw even international media talking about it. Former South African under-19 batter Deval Brevis, who now makes it into his maiden call-up for your team. A proud moment to have selected him and brought him up and give him his first cap?
Yeah, look, obviously that first capping still to happen. Hopefully on
his first call-up, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, his first call-up is, look, I know there's been a lot written and spoken about Deval and getting him into the mix. If you think about the guys who are sitting out for the this T20 series, there's quality players. Dave Miller and Heinrich Blossom, the guys who bat in that position. So, to be able to replace those with the young talent of Deval as well as Tristan Stubbs, who's played a sort of a handful of games so far, Donovan Ferreira. These are exciting young cricketers who've sort of lit up the leagues in different parts of the world. So to have them turn out in the green and gold, that's exciting.
It is exciting, and he was an exciting player, even in IPL when you take a look at that. But the pressure on him for a young player like that, we haven't experienced him a lot. Is he a grounded player? He's got big names that he's already been compared to. Is he a player that is going to need a little bit of coach management perhaps to keep his head down and just get the work done? I feel, whenever you have so much all come at you at once, I don't remember such a young player with such responsibility since Graham Smith perhaps in Proteas colour.
Yeah, you make a valid point, and for me, it's just about trying to sort of just keep. He's a very level-headed guy, and he's always great when young guys arrive at training. They've got a sparkle in their eyes and a spring in their step, and they're excited by the opportunity, and he's very much like that. So it's trying to sort of shift him away from the expectation, and my only expectation from him is that he's able to express himself. It's important that we create the best environment for these young guys to step into. To feel like we back them just to play the way that they can play and back themselves to do what's got them there in the first place, and then just keep learning. So, like as I said, we just try and take that weight off his shoulders. There's no need for a young guy to be under such sort of pressure early doors in his career. Of course, no, it's not it's not done through sort of, by default really more than anything else, but it is there, and it's for us to just make sure that we do whatever we can to give them the platform to succeed, not expose them to too much pressure and put too much pressure on their shoulders.
This is known as the World Cup year, not just in cricket, but across sporting codes. Many of them that have seen a World Cup all culminate in the same year. And when it comes to the Proteas and the World Cup, it's one of those moments where it's always, it's bittersweet. We're always excited that we go into a World Cup, and we always put a formidable squad, because when it comes to cricketing talent, South Africa amongst the best in the world. But geez, I must be honest, Coach. I watch my TV sideways, because I don't always. I sit on the edge of my couch. I don't want my kids anywhere near me. How different are we in preparations?
Oh, look, I mean, I've been one of those guys sitting on the edge of his seat. So I'll potentially be sitting on the edge of mine, but just next to the ground, So, no, to be fair, I mean, the guys are doing everything they possibly can to be ready. We just had a camp the whole of last week in Pretoria. I mean, the work ethic of the guys is unbelievable. The effort, as I said, that they're putting in to be ready, is unquestionable. So, yeah, we're doing what we can. Of course, there's nothing to replicate, World Cups and matches in World Cups and the pressure that brings with it, and we're not sort of naive to that. But we're excited about another opportunity. It's another opportunity to represent the country at a World Cup. It's another opportunity to try and do something that hasn't done before. And so all we can do for now is just take care of our preparation, and we're certainly doing that.
If you're just joining us, Proteas coach Rob Walter is on the line with us. We're speaking all things Proteas. Coach, before I let you go, and really do appreciate your time, and we're hoping to make this more of a thing. This is the biggest platform for all things sport in South Africa, and it's only right that we give him, cricket, because it is also one of the favorites here in South Africa. Faf du Plessis, where is he as far as your plans are concerned? Is this something that you would still entertain? Is this something that you would still, perhaps want as part of your team, not only for the big hits, because we saw he still has it in him, but is this something that is in the coach's plans? Have you thought about it? What's going on with you and the Faf selection?
Yeah, I mean, myself and Faf have been in regular contact. Certainly setting our sights on next year's T20 World Cup, and doing whatever we can to get it over the line that he can be available for that. Obviously, the world of cricket is changing, as you know, and these leagues are popping up, and the demand for South African players is immense. We've got a number
and the chase for money as well from players, and it makes sense. I mean, there's big money in those leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't begrudge the players either. It's just, if anyone else was in the same position, given the potential to earn through what is essentially their job, I mean, it's just totally understandable. So it's for us to try and manage a way around that, because, there's a keenness from both ends. I know Faf really wants to play, and I certainly want him in the team. So, we're working as hard as we can to make it a reality. I mean, there's water to pass under the bridge, but certainly there's a willingness from most parties. So, let's hold thumbs and that the stars align, and that Faf can turn out for South Africa again.
Coach, this is one that I'm throwing at you as a whammy, but we do know in the country that we live in, there is things that we have to consider whenever you're picking. Does the quota system make it more difficult for you? Have you found it easy to work with it? Many coaches have said it's been so difficult. They wish that there wasn't such a system in place. How is it for you as a South African coach with the reality that you face of, having to look at your players, not just as everybody's wearing a green shirt, but what color is the skin of the person wearing the green shirt?
To be dead honest with you, I look at the players that we've got, and I don't see anyone there that doesn't deserve to be there or hasn't earned the right to be there, and doesn't have the potential to win games for his country. So from that point of view, as I said, I think we're in a fortunate position. We've got high quality cricketers. So as yet, I haven't had any issues in that space. I mean, look, the team wants to be a mirror of hope for the country. We want to be able to inspire people from all races, all backgrounds, and that is a responsibility that we need to live up to. But in the same breath, as I said, no one's there as a window dressing. They're there because they're quality cricketers. They're there because they deserve to be.
Coach, I really do appreciate your time and all the best moving forward, and I hope that at some point or another we'll catch up again, perhaps after a couple of more games, a couple of more tournaments, just to see where you're at. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Andile. Great chatting, and available anytime to chat.
Rob Walter, Proteas coach, coming on to have a chat to us about all things cricket South Africa. Let's take a break. When we come back on the other side, it's all over to you. Let me see. Yeah, by the time you come back, this game will probably be over. There's about a minute and a half to go. Sundowns still leading by 4-0. And Golden Arrows, not just sitting back, though, with just a minute to go. They're still really persistently playing, and they're not just sitting back, which is great to see. They're still trying to get at least a goal out of this. It's 18:48. It's 18:49, taking your calls on the Mighty Metro FM, as well, of course, as your voice notes. A confirmation from, Fabrizio, the European one, not our own here, Fabrizio, rather, not our own Mazola here, saying that the official confirmation, Neymar salary, the package for the 2 years that it'll be there, so you can divide it into two. It'll be $150 million a year, $300 million in 2 years. Obviously, with bonuses and add-ons, it could go to $400 million, but the confirmed amount is $300 million in 2 years. Now, I know the first thing we all want to do, but when you travel overseas, don't convert. But no, tenga, swipe, don't. Hey, you must convert. Listen, you must convert. So when you convert it to rands, do you know how much that is? Hey, let's take Kabelo first. Maybe Kabelo will know, because I see Kabelo's on the line. Maybe Kabelo's in tune, with his conversions here. Kabelo GP calling now from Pretoria. I want to quickly ask him this before I find out what it is that he wants. Kabelo. Listen, Kabelo, man. 300 million United States dollars in 2 years is how much Neymar's going to be making. Do you know how much that is in rands? Because you deal in rands, most.
I didn't answer, but the way you're converting it, you say 300 what?
It's $300 million. $300 million. How much is that in rands?
Hey, you are confusing me. Is it times what? Is it times 19 or times what? Okay, you are confusing me. You are even cracking me. It's the first time I hear that amount. But what I want to say
5.7 billion rands.
Did you say billion?
Billion rands, Kabza. That's how much money this man is going to be making in 2 years.
But you don't want anybody that can polish the shoes or anything. You don't want to hire a person like that. I can just play with the dogs. I can play with the dogs just to give me just 0.2% of the money. Just in 2 years, I will appreciate it.
Talk to me, my Oga. What's going on? What's the wahala about?
Oga, I want to greet you, and I want to greet everybody. I want to greet Mazola. Everybody. It's been a long time I don't come here, but I just
very long time. We've missed you.
Okay, I've been listening. Even the other day you said you wanted me to come out. I was here, but sometimes you need to give people another chance. I want 100%. To thank God for God to give us an opportunity to go through to the semi-final. And at this time, I want to ask all the referees, please. This time around, we are playing Sundowns. We know what they have been doing. This offside, we don't want it. We are playing first leg and second leg. Please, I beg. Sundowns, we want to play Fengu. We want to play fair and square so that we can proceed to the final of MTN8. Please, do not drop us like you've been dropping us. I'm saying this because I know people that have been listening, and I don't like it. If the people beat us, they can beat us fair and square. But do not listen of the offside. Look at the win against Swallows. It was a clear offside. But I want to warn them that now they are playing Kaizer Chiefs. We will not stand for that. Okay, are you listening to me?
I'm listening to you.
As long as they can play fair and square, we have the Castillos, we have the Survivor, we have everybody. So we are ready for the semi-final. They must just give us the date. In fact, Kaizer Chiefs supporters, they must give us the date so that we buy all the tickets. Sundowns will not even enter. The supporters will not enter. Kaizer Chiefs, let us go buy all the tickets. Home and away, and we enter. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kabelo GP. Appreciate him. Xolisa is here in Johannesburg. Xolisa.
Hey, how's it, Ma?
Hey, I'm strong, man. Talk to me.
I'm very well. That kind of amount, but price is too much. I think
5.7 billion rands to play football for 2 years.
The guy is going to be the richest sport person in the world.
As far as payment is concerned, in their 2 seasons, he already is. Nobody has ever been paid that much. He's getting more than what Ronaldo did.
You know, sport is a very awarding a job or career in the world. I always encourage people that if you know you are good in sport, just try to go for it and give your all, because you will never know. Okay. On a serious note, I want to congratulate you and Ubra Timothy for a great show. You guys are always giving us a top-notch show. And one thing I like about you, even if you disagree with a caller or anyone else, you always allow those people to come in and have their different opinions, because there's nothing wrong in having a different opinion from the other person. The most important thing is to have a very healthy conversation.
100%.
There was a caller yesterday who said this Mamelodi Sundowns versus Kaizer Chiefs fixture is a blessing in disguise, because we Kaizer Chiefs supporters felt like we were hard done by our goalkeeper by that mistake, and we felt Sundowns, we could have held Sundowns to a 1-1 goal on the previous weekend. And this gives us a great opportunity to redeem ourselves and then to stamp our authority, show Sundowns that we are indeed a very...
Very quickly, did you watch Sundowns now against Golden Arrows?
I'm scared at the rate at which they are scoring.
Okay.
I'm very scared.
Okay. Kolisa, I appreciate you. This show is only great because of people like you. You guys that listen to this show, you determine, and we're truly grateful. Thank you so much. Let's go to David. David is out in Aguruleni. David, welcome to the show. Always great to have you.
Thank you much for taking my call. Greetings to you, Omar, and the crew.
Oma Akatugba, sorry, before you go, David, I know you're calling about something else, but Oma Akatugba says that South African, it's not everything that we've been saying. We just don't have the talent to compete at a world level. Says we're just not talented enough.
I think that is totally the negative. Why did Bafana wall up Nigeria with the arrogance in Nigeria? It's impossible. We don't even talk about our sisters. They shot them flames. Nigeria is, they're allowed. Talent, they're allowed.
All right. No, I'm glad the patriotism in you stood up there. What do you want to talk about?
My prediction on Friday was spot on.
What did you say? Remind me, David.
I was the second last call. I told you that she is going through. Though some people were doubting.
Everyone was doubting.
Sundowns was going through. I told them Pirates was going through, and I knew Stellis was going through, especially with Stellenbosch. Nobody gave Stellenbosch a chance.
Timmy's gonna find that clip. We'll play it on Friday. Timmy's gonna find it, David. On Friday we'll play that clip because you deserve it.
And I want to warn people. I once worked with Baka when we were playing in the military league. But I'm telling you, we used to call him Malum. That guy is going to surprise many. This cup, I doubt if the big guns will really take it. Stellis might be the spoiler. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, David. Let's take one more. We've got time before Faith comes in. Asiyethafeni. Uhlala kumnandi masiyethafeni. Sibongoleni.
Unjani ma?
Ya cha ngumqamane. Talk to me.
Hayi, naku imesi indawo yangakithi kamgayi emathafeni.
Hayibo njalo. Isemathafeni. Akumina uTimothy phela ukhumbula ukuthi yena ubuya ngalena kweSouth Africa.
Hayi ngiyabona nawe ngiyakubona ushaya ezosuthu namhlanje umuhle.
Oh, you are for those watching on Facebook. Cha angizona ezosuthu kodwa ungasho ukuthi ezosuthu ngempela. Ozungu ngiyazwana nabo umthetho wami.
Hayi umuhle kakhulu ma, ayengathi singakuthatha siye nayo FNB.
Hayibo njalo.
Ngifuna ukuphawula la ngelokhuzana ngegame yeManchester United izolo ma.
Ingiphathisisa inhliziyo ngesandla leyo nto. Okungikhulumele nami.
Yabona ma, I think indlela edlale ngayo iManchester United as umlandeli wayo, I was not convinced.
100%.
And I was not convinced with indlela ama-match officials enze ngayo. Phesheya ma, noma kwamanye ama-leagues ala e-Africa banayo i-VAR, but indlela ekuthathwa ngayo izinqumo, it's not convincing because banethuba lokuthi baphinde babone ama-mistakes awenzekile egroundini. Yes, I mean
ukhuluma ngo-Onana la
ngo-Onana
penalty.
I think they should have done better bane VAR banayo yonke indlela yokuthi babheke inkinga lebikhona bakwazi ukuthatha isinqumo and sihlezi sikhala ngayo nala sithi ayize but uma izinqumo zizothathwa abantu abaphilayo njengami nawe ayi ngakungona ifana ne-goal line technology okuyiyona ezidecidelayo ukuthi it's a goal or not.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much there, Ematafeni. 4 after the hour 7. From myself and my team, Timothy Miranda Olepara Joe. Pela, Nganzomi.